Welcome back to Wake Up Epic. This is an adventure about commitment. I'm Alex Iglesia. We start with the 29th hexagram. Now, the top and the bottom of the 29th hexagram are actually the same move. And this is unique. So we start by moving back and away from the screen and the world. And we rise up with a sense of agency, with a sense of standing or firmness, and we come narrow. So this shapes us into pillar. From the side, this would be as if I'm having a conversation with someone and I say, hold on one second. Let me check in with what I know, what I want, what I know. So there's a sense of self and agency. So try this a few times. Shift back and away from the world and rise up. Any creative can benefit by taking a little bit of distance to tune in with what they know. And what happens, and how many times have you ever checked in with yourself and you felt you collapsed? You felt like, if I make that decision, that's the wrong decision. Your body, something in your body tells you no. And how many times have you ever tuned into a decision or possibility and you found a resolute yes? So because the top and the bottom are both the same pillar, this gives us the embodied story of, in a world of yes and potential agency, I choose, you choose to be a stand for something. And being that stand for something, you're contributing, we contribute to a world that's empowered. Something like that story. The gift of the 29th hexagram from the Gene Keys perspective is commitment. So imagine, what is commitment if we are tuning into and being more aware of ourselves than the world, active with a sense of responsibility, and narrow with a little bit more narrowness, a bit more constraint, and a bit less possibility in everything. Doesn't mean it has to be one thing, but a little bit of less is more here. Imagine being committed to your life. You're going through your day and you pause for a moment. Hold on a second. I'm tuning into myself. I'm committed to my life. I'm in this life with my name, my history. Therefore, what? What behaviors are possible? What words are possible? What choices want to come out of you? And let's look at the shadow of half-heartedness. So if we go into our pillar, but we don't quite get there, like I can't get that pillar, I can't come into myself, I can't rise up with agency, and I can't focus on this one thing right now. Give yourself a felt sense of, I can't be here. I can't be here doing this. Where in your life is that relevant to you? I can't be here doing this. I can't be me. I shouldn't be me doing this. And now try overdoing it. Rather than can't, try must or have to. I have to focus on myself. I have to rise up. I have to do this one thing. Exaggerate each of the dimensions. And then let that go. The city, or the ultimate gift here, is devotion. So what is devotion? We think of devotion, well, one of the first things that comes to my mind with devotion is it's about the other. I'm devoted to you. I'm devoted to this work. I'm devoted to showing up every week and doing Wake Up Epic. But here with pillar, we're inviting a sense of self, a sense of firmness, and a sense of narrowness. So imagine, what does that mean for you for devotion? And before we get too altruistic or too high and mighty with our thoughts about it, one of the things that comes to mind for me, I was listening actually this morning to the end chapter of a book called Recapture the Rapture. And they go through these 4 elements that we need to move forward in an uncertain world. The first was danger mouse, this notion that there's something in us that, like a mouse, if a bird flies over, a bird of prey flies over, certain number of mice, some small percentage of mice will stand there and not run. So where in our life can we stand and not run from our perceived threat? The second idea, what they called a tank man, the man in Tiananmen Square, who said, like, I can't deal with this anymore. And that person made history. He took a stand as the Chinese army approached him with tanks. So tank man, so we have this courage in the face of danger, taking a stand in the face of danger. Then there was the notion of soul force, coming from the peaceful, peaceful activism from Gandhi, Malcolm X, and others through into the 60s and 70s. So a sense of the soul force, that like righteous, I know this is right, and I'm standing for it. Again, there's a calmness, there's a yin. So pillar has 2 yins, back and narrow, and 1 yang. So again, think of taking a stand as very, very soft, even watery. The final 4th concept from the end of Recapture the Rapture was radical hope. Tuning into a future that's better. The last idea I'll drop in is from Human Design. So the simple explanation for this gate is the gate of saying yes. So coming back, what do you want to do in your life? Yes. Are you committed to your life? Yes. Would you like to go to Thai food? No. Would you like to go to this other food? Yes. So let's make some space today and use our activations to make room in our psyche and for a new level of saying yes to our lives. We'll go through 4 rounds now, drop an activation statement, so a belief or possibility, a set of words that directly lines up and expresses this energy. We'll go through 1 per minute times 4, and then we'll do a 5th round of holding this energy in silence to see what's emerging. Here we go. Shift back, up, narrow. And because we've got top and bottom being the same, we'll just gently drop out of it and come back in. So there's a breathing quality to it. I can prioritize and stay committed to the things I most want to do. I can prioritize and stay committed to the things I most want to do. The second activation is about courage. I can have the courage to risk really going for what I want and believe in. I can have the courage to risk really going for what I want and believe in. Remember, 2 yins, 1 yang, or the whole hexagram, 4 yins, 2 yang. Be like water. What is it you want and believe in? That you're ready to brave some risk. For our third activation, it's about strength. I can stay strong and persistent in the face of difficulty. I can stay strong and persistent in the face of difficulty. It's possible you get tired and feel like a little bit of collapse is warranted. So feel free to go there and then come back into pillaring. And our fourth activation is about determination. I can remain determined despite setbacks and failures. I can remain determined despite setbacks and failures. Is there a setback or a failure you're afraid of? How can you find more determination today? For this fifth and final round, hold the pose, move as you need to. I invite you to imagine in front of you your wildest dream. It's true. You're on the journey. All the obstacles, the learning, the skills, the people, the support, the lack of support, allow everything to move through your awareness and keep holding the wildest dream. And if you don't know what that is, just use the words wildest dream and stand there committed, devoted. Take the next 3 breaths to feel finished and complete with our practice for today. Get ready to exit. When you're ready, step out, drop your arms, step forward. Gently look around the space and reintegrate with the space around you, the space that you were in when we started. And notice what catches your attention now. What catches your attention the most? And what does that have to say about what you're committed and devoted to? Allow yourself to receive information now and for the rest of the day about your commitments and devotions, your creations and your dreams, and that you are a radically courageous being who can pursue it softly. And then get present with the video and each other. And if you are doing this alone, now is the time to journal or to call someone to share some of your insights, someone who can hear you and listen. And what we do in the end of these Wake Up Epics is share a sense of what's come through, insights, learnings, takeaways, and ahas.
As I contemplate what could be gleaned from this, I'm struck by two things, neither one which I expected. One was that the entire practice was pretty non mental, in that there were no thoughts at all. It's interesting because I normally do get some some associations, and it had that, I guess, water being this realm of more feeling flow as opposed to ideas, quick ideas. So that was interesting. And then, and I guess focus is a big part of that. So I guess it's working in that regard. And then the other thing that struck me is, as you invited us to expand to go from, at the very end, to go from the narrow to just look broadly and what's here at hand. I guess having focused for so long, well, whatever many minutes we've been doing this, somehow, I guess it's like in that journey where, in that story where you say the main purpose of travel is to come back with the new eyes. Somehow, I guess some kind of like it became wider, and my perception became wider and broader. Somehow, I guess, gave me permission to come out. I guess I realized that my habitual stance is like, have to focus, have to focus, have to focus, have to like just like keep distilling what's the most important, what's to where to concentrate effort. So having a permission to step out of it, it's like, oh, I guess just realizing how habitually I'm caught in that. Have to focus, have to pick what's important, have to not get distracted, have to not get diffused, have to really cut off all the dissipations. It's good to have permission to step out of it. I don't know what the lesson there is, but it's like, wow. I guess just recognizing how prevailing for me is that conversation of have to force and coerce focus, even if I don't necessarily know what that should be, but focus is, I guess, is a high as a high deity of for us modern humans. It's like, oh, it's so good to let go. So that's what came up. I was quite surprised.
Mm. Oh, thank you. I remember when I went to the university, I had this story of, okay, I'm just gonna, put my head down and get through this. And looking at it right now, I think, well, that kind of sad. That kind of sucks. To like, does that mean, like, where was I not looking forward to it? Where was I selling out in some way, that rather than like, I'm so excited to go live this and expand for the next 4 years, I was gonna put my head down and get through this. I never quite noticed it that way. And what you said, Alexandra, about the expansive and getting out of the feeling, I have this image of, like, if I go to bed and I go, I'm committed to going to sleep. I'm gonna get in bed. Clearly, the only thing to do is go to sleep. There's not gonna cook. I'm not gonna do a lot of things. The only thing to do is go to sleep. But if I'm attacking it with, I'm committed to going to sleep, I'm so devoted to my rest, like, I, that does not let me go to sleep. And the way I go to sleep, and I rarely ever have a problem going to sleep, is I get in, I allow, there's this knowing, there's a non-doing. I'm going to sleep, but not by trying. I'm going to sleep, but not by doing it. I'm stopping doing, and it happens. And I'm just struck by the quality or the idea that there's uh, twice as many yin as yang. So two yin for the one yang in pillar, and four for the two in the hexagram. So twice the yin for the yang. And it makes me think about the times people have, or where I or someone have questioned my sense of commitment because I wasn't showing up with, I'm committed, you can count on me, when that's always felt fake to me. And what always felt like real commitment was a sense of, I'm going for a walk right now. Like, that's what feels like commitment to me. This is happening. I'm on this Zoom with you. To me, that feels like commitment because it feels so true. And as soon as I put a layer of a should or even some emotion on top of that, then I tend to want to get out of it. And when I'm just in it, I have no desire to get out of it. So that's something I'm noticing. And the last thing I'm noticing is I know that I can feel, like, I can even feel my presence. I can feel a sense of reluctance to say, I'm committed to, and naming it. And I thought, well, what happens if I say I'm half-heartedness with, and all of a sudden I can finish the words, I can finish the sentence. I'm half-hearted with sales. I'm feeling half-hearted with my creativity. I'm feeling half-hearted with my soul storybook. There's something where that resonates and is easy. And if I say I'm committed to my soul storybook, I feel a contraction. So that's gonna be something to explore and be with. But maybe as a tool to help people with commitment, to make space for, hey, we don't have to be committed all the time, especially if there's expectations or shoulds involved. And don't force it. Commitment is water. We can't force it into a container, but we can pour it and it'll take a shape. So let's talk about what you're feeling half-hearted with, and get that on the table. And that doesn't even need to be bad. We don't have to judge it as shadow. It's just, there's a certain level of engagement and commitment to it, and it hasn't yet blossomed, perhaps. And maybe blossoming, pouring, is a better way to help each other with commitment, rather than, so now at the end of our coaching session, what action are you committed to? So something, definitely some fun, some interesting things to contemplate. Feels pretty rich.
Yeah, what I got, thank you so much. I love that perspective. I love that saying, or what the saying it reminds me of is that the road is made by walking, and how inherent quality of water is flow. by letting it flow, is going to discover its path towards the ocean. It is committed to flowing down to the ocean, and it's going to discover its path and the surrender inherent in just surrendering to the journey. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, if it wasn't clear for everyone, pillar is water in the I Ching. So we've got water over water, hence the archetype being the water goddess. So enjoy being water and exploring water's, like learning from water's commitment. Thanks for waking up, Epic, and I'll see you in the next show.